Welcome to Finance Revealed. Watch the complete video to discover new market secrets. Subscribe now.
We are long-term in our focus. Keep your eye on the prize. And I do think in the short term, what has happened here, one of the things that's happened is reminiscent of the beginning of 2017, when China shut down all of its exchanges and the Bitcoin's price collapsed. And anyone who bought on that enjoyed one of the most magnificent runs during 2017, because what we learned is, fine, China shuts down its exchanges and the activity moves to Japan, Korea, Thailand, almost seamlessly. And when people looked around and said, okay, nothing happened there, this just shifted. And we think the same will be true of mining, by the way, and therefore mining will be more transparent than it is in China right now. I think ESG is the second reason that it has gone down. Environmental, social governance, primarily environmental. How is Bitcoin mined? A lot of institutions are asking that question. And ESG has become a very important strategy, especially in Europe, increasingly in the United States. And this was one more risk that it was going to keep institutions from migrating into this new asset class. This is a new asset class. And from 10, 11 years worth of data, we can see the low correlation of returns compared to other assets. Institutional investors have to consider this because certainly their competitors are, as another form of diversification and opportunity. And I think this put that off for a moment. But I think that the spotlight on the environment is going to cause something really interesting to happen here. We just wrote a paper with Square about the ramifications of putting Bitcoin mining into a solar power wall merchant power ecosystem, so that it could absorb all the extra energy coming from the sun after the battery, the power pack is filled up. That would add a new dimension of economics to this ecosystem and would encourage homeowners and utilities to add more solar to their own ecosystems than otherwise would be the case. So it's actually going to accelerate the movement into renewables. I think that's what's going to bring institutions back. And I think Elon Musk highlighting, is this a risk that I have considered adequately as I put Bitcoin on my balance sheet, my firm's balance sheet? I think he's going to be a part of the solution. So we think what has happened here is actually going to turn into good news. Absolutely. I was keeping very close contact with my friends in the DeFi space, particularly venture funds deeply involved in it, and monitoring. And it seemed to go pretty flawlessly. Of course, there are some bankruptcies out there, and businesses that are not going to exist. But this is the natural clearing process. If you want to take on that leverage, that's the kind of risk you're taking, and just know that. So I think each one of these corrections, certainly the coronavirus was a battle test, and now this one is a battle test. I think each one brings with it improvements in governance, but also proves out, as Anthony says, how robust this decentralized ecosystem is. I will say, we heard that some institutions were taking advantage of this 50% drop in the price. They had been worried about top ticking. And I think they believe that half of the solution is understanding the problem in terms of ESG and just putting a spotlight on it. So I think some institutions have been opportunistic, but not very many. I think this was more of a showstopper, at least temporarily, for a lot of institutions. In terms of the idea that one person's tweet could cause this amount of damage, well, we've been involved with Tesla, you might know, for a very long long time, and we are getting used to this, and use these opportunities. So I think he was probably just after a call with Larry Fink at BlackRock, who's his #3 shareholder, who's all about climate change, and probably set off some of this furor, if I had to guess. And there are also in the top of the league tables in terms of owners of Tesla, there are a lot of European institutions. And again, very high sensitivity, probably more than Elon could have imagined before he committed and his team committed to Bitcoin. You know, it's interesting. On Friday, a company called Talon Energy announced that it was doing an equity offering. It was going to try and get $800 million done. 300 million of which would go to data centers for Bitcoin mining. This is a merchant power producer. And so I thought, wow, there are already companies that are starting to run with this model. And we know in China, the renewable percentage is somewhere between 40 and 60%. So again, making your point. I think a bigger point that needs to be made is that progress takes energy. And it seems as though any lightning rod involving, in this case, it was coal in China, is going to turn back the clock. But we really need to keep moving forward. This is progress. As Anthony mentioned, you know, to a DeFi system that does not fall apart after assets are cut in half. That's a pretty powerful source of progress, I think, from a financial system point of view. And I think just, again, the notion that Bitcoin mining could actually help renewables proliferate faster than otherwise would be the case, I think is going to win the day here, and that ESG will not be as much an issue as people think going forward. And we also are diversifying. We have various funds. You can find them on our website. I'm not, from a compliance point of view, supposed to be talking very openly about some of them, but it is public that we have added Ethereum. Again, the security through Grayscale was our starting point. And yes, as Anthony says, Bitcoin is the safest, the most secure of the blockchain technologies. And I think that is a huge consideration for institutions. Security, safety, you know, is this thing going to blow up on me? So Bitcoin is the most secure, makes sense. It's the right place to start. The correlation of returns very low. And it also is the leader of the pack. If you look at 2017, as the crypto world took off, led by Bitcoin, here again in the last 6 months, led by Bitcoin. Ether was very slow this time to respond, but came on, obviously, once confidence increased, came on very strongly. So different, I think institutions will diversify into other crypto assets, but they have to walk before they run. And I think they have to feel safe and secure in the knowledge that, you know, their assets are not, as I said, going to be in harm's way. Maybe the volatility is there, but that their Bitcoin will be there. It will not be confiscated in any way that they might fear. So I think that's why you're seeing the step first into Bitcoin, and then as a launching pad into others.
Elon Musk, Vitalik Buterin, Charles Hoskinson, Ray Dalio, Clem Chambers, Anthony Pompliano, Ron Paul, Peter Schiff, Jim Rickards, Gerald Celente, Kevin O'Leary, Warren Buffett, Tyler Wing.